Thanks a lot for the invitation. This is a really great initiative, and I'm delighted to be part of this and be able to present briefly about biologging tools for conservation. I guess today I've got two hats on. One is as a researcher from the University of St. Andrews, where I'm a professor of biology. The other one, and perhaps more importantly today, is as the founding president of the International Biologging Society. This is just a brief introduction to the society. You can find us online. You can also find us on Twitter. The society brings together people from around the world who are interested in biologging technology and the scientific and conservation insights these technologies can provide. And our membership is really diverse. It's not just researchers. We've got plenty of engineers as part of the society. We have conservation practitioners, computer scientists, mathematicians, and so on. It's a really diverse group. Just a brief overview who's running the society. This is a group of people who got together a few years ago and decided that the time had come to form a society, given the growing interest in biologging technology. You may recognize some faces here. At the top, you've got the Society's Executive Committee, and the bottom half here, those are guests and helpers. These little panels here show that we are a really diverse group in every regard, with regards to our own background, but also our research interests. Some of us are interested in marine tracking application, others in terrestrial, and others have mixed interests. We've only launched the society quite recently, but we've already got about 600 members across 17 countries, and we are delighted that about a third of those are early career researchers. That's postdocs, PhD students, and master students. The Biologging Society is currently launching 6 working groups. I won't have time to go into detail, but I've put up just a few keywords here. We are very interested in exploring whether it's possible to establish data standards for our field, to make data sharing easier for everybody. We are very keen on researching best practice protocols and ethical considerations involved in animal tagging. We've got a group that is concerned with education and training of the next generation of biologging scientists. We are launching a biologging decade where we invite people to collaborate on a very broad scale with each other. Perhaps we can discuss that more later on. We've got a group that tackles the problem of wildlife crime, and several other working groups are in the pipeline, but it's the wildlife crime group that will be the focus of my presentation today. I was asked to give a very brief overview about recent developments in biologging science, and I really don't have time to go into much detail, but I thought I'd bring up a few bullet points that could perhaps provide starting points for further discussion later on. There are clearly exciting developments in advanced positional tracking and efficient remote data download. Wireless sensor networks are really coming to the fore and are proving extremely effective, particularly in the conservation context. There are exciting developments in terms of onboard data processing and event triggering. So tags only spring into action and do things when they sense that an important event has happened in the external environment. Video and audio loggers really are no longer just gimmickry gadgets. They are becoming really useful research tools. There's an increasing interest in the assessment of animal physiology, and there are very exciting developments in terms of innovative data visualization. I want to very briefly talk about these, some of which will cover my own work, others won't. The first two, really, advanced positional tracking and data download facilities. Most of you will be familiar with the ICARUS system, which will be a genuine game changer for the field. It's a system that capitalizes on the infrastructure provided by the International Space Station. It's a program that is being led by Professor Martin Wikelski from the Max Planck Society in Germany, who is also a member of our Society's Executive Committee. And this technology, once it's gone live, will really revolutionize the way we can track animals, especially small animals that can only carry small tags. And we can discuss later what the innovation here is, but it's a very clever radio communication system that allows these tags to be much smaller than conventional tags that, for example, would require an Argos uplink for data recovery. And the system has been installed on the International Space Station just a few weeks ago, and we are all eagerly awaiting switch on. For the wireless sensor networks, I want to tell you very briefly about some work my own research group has done. This work was not with a conservation focus, but it illustrates, I think, the cutting edge of the field, because we try to use wireless sensor network technology for the first time with a free-flying bird species. And so our tags had to be considerably smaller than the tags that are routinely used for tracking mammals with this technology. And here you can see one of our birds with a tiny little proximity logger harness mounted at the back. This is the antenna protruding here. This is the board of the system. We are using a system called EncounterNet, which some of you may have heard of. This is an assembled tag. You see most of it is the battery. This is the base station we can use for remotely recovering data. It's a UHF system. Tag mass is about 10 grams. If we pulse at 1 pulse per 20 seconds, we get about 3 weeks of battery life, and the tags can be duty cycled. That's the kind of information you get. The details don't matter, but this is a social network of 33 crows that were tagged with these transmitters. And over about 3 weeks, we accumulated over 170,000 encounter logs where crows associated with each other, and from that we can reconstruct this network. There are really exciting possibilities, I think, for adopting this technology for a conservation context. The other technology I wanted to highlight again is something we have trialed with the same species, actually, New Caledonian crows. It's video and audio loggers. We've developed video loggers that are so small that they can be carried by a bird of this size. They only weigh about 300 grams, these crows. The tags we put on them are about 13 grams, and you see the tiny little camera poking through the tail feathers here. They achieve a very good resolution. That's TV quality at 19.7 frames per second. And each camera can produce about 90 minutes of video footage, but we can spread that over several days of recording time, again through onboard duty cycling. So we can pre-program when the camera should switch on and switch off. And this is how we attach them to the birds. They go onto the tail feathers, the camera pokes through, and we get this really nice underbelly view of the world. So when the crow bends forwards, we see its head in camera view. Again, this is just to illustrate just how far the technology has come. Some of you will be familiar with other camera tracking systems that are considerably larger, some of them the size of a shoebox. We now have video loggers that really are the size of a USB stick, and through clever use of microprocessors and clever use of duty cycling, these can be incredibly effective for gathering data where visual information is required or could be useful, and perhaps can inform conservation decisions. Finally, this of course is a problem we are all very concerned about, the international global poaching crisis, and I don't need to provide you with the statistics that this is becoming a very urgent race indeed to find a solution to that. And something I wanted to put up for discussion, perhaps if there is time, is the idea to use cutting-edge biologging technology to develop real-time poaching alert systems. The idea here is that animals like rhinos or elephants, but in principle all sorts of critically endangered animals, could be fitted with tags that act as real-time alarms whenever an animal is being attacked, is physiologically stressed, may have been hurt or killed. An alarm is raised. The animal-mounted tag detects this animal state. An alarm is raised. The position of the animal is established, for example, through GPS, fast lock GPS. Then a data uplink is established that could be through a satellite system like Iridium, or it could be through a ground-based UHF system, whatever infrastructure is locally available. And this alarm then enables a ground team to get to the crime scene very fast. We, as the society, are very interested in scoping how such a system could be built so that it's fast enough for this alert to be sent out before the tag can be destroyed by the poachers. And the idea is to bring these ground teams, the ranger teams, to the crime scene so quickly that this system can act as a useful deterrent. The idea is we want to escalate the chances of interception and ultimately prosecution, and that hopefully will buy us all a bit of time. This is something that the Biologging Society, one of its working groups, is currently looking into, and we are very keen to hear from other interested parties who perhaps have technology that might be useful for this, or conceptual ideas. We are working closely with Martin Wikelski's team on a possible ICARUS-based solution for this system as well. And with that, I will finish off. I hope I stayed within time roughly. Please do get in touch with me if you have any questions, either directly or please make contact with the Society.